So we just got the new Convergences, the new system of rifts this patch, and it looks a lot like a meta, because honestly it is. But that's not a bad thing, because honestly they're very fun. They're very dynamic. There's already 2 bosses that you can encounter. There's a lot of splitting, not a lot of surging, and there a lot of choices you can do to make it faster and more profitable for you. We're gonna talk about that and how this is a new type of, in my opinion, superior design to metas that we're gonna see hopefully in the future, and hopefully as well iterated upon. Subscribe to the channel if you like this kind of videos, and give it a like. So, what are convergences? And essentially convergences are another type of instance meta on an open world event. Metas are essentially 50-man or more bosses where you do a little bit of a pre-event, you essentially drag the boss out, or you get into their, into their city, into their place, and try to, kill them in their own place, right? You're essentially progressing through different events in order to get to the boss at the end. And convergences are essentially that, but we are going to their world, right? To the Cryptis world. We essentially have to get in there, kill some ads, the minions of the bosses, kill the champions of the bosses, then spread around to different places where there are 20 lieutenants that we have to kill in 4 sectors, and we have to split and kill them. And then at the end, there's a big boss that comes out and starts moving around the map. We have to chase him and kill it, right? While we're doing this, of course, there's also Soja, who is indeed protecting us from these enemies and letting us be there in that place. And if she dies, we die, right? So we have to be healing her consistently by grabbing these little orbs that if we deposit it to Soja, she will have more health, and at the same time she will also revive us, because when we die, we will actually not just be able to revive whenever we want. We will have to essentially give the orbs to Soja so she can revive us. So there's 2 points in us giving her the orbs, healing her and also reviving us. And while we are dead, we are these little orbs that also can collect other orbs in order to give it to her and support our eyes. So there's a lot of things going on. At the same time, which is actually very cool, if we use the orbs for ourselves and don't give it to Soja, we will do more damage, but also we will have less health. So there's this little mini game of greed, where it's like, okay, I want to do damage a lot. I want a lot of orbs so I can do more damage, but also I'll die faster. But also I could use this once to heal Soja instead. So what do? Should I keep them up to make to do more damage so the meta ends faster, so I make more gold in less time? Or do I help Soja and assure that we're not gonna wipe? Because if Soja dies, we have to start over again. And also, you have to think that if you die, if you go downstage, only if you go downstage, with your orbs, you'll lose all of them as well. So what are you gonna do? And that's very cool. Because let's be real, guys, this meta is not that hard. But there's so many little levels of things happening, and so many decisions that you are making in an individual level. And the commander also is doing by essentially telling, guys, we need to heal Soja now or she'll die, right? There's so many things that are happening, and this is actually great because you play safe, as you know, because you just want to have a good time and just go heal Soja, whatever it is. Or you want to be like a tryhard, like wants to do big damage and wants to try very hard and pull their own weight, and not only pull their own weight but carry everyone else on their back because they're so cool. You can't do that. You can't have all the orbs, like 50 orbs, get like 10k health, be a fucking complete glass cannon, and just if you don't dodge the mechanic of the boss, you will die, right? And you'll have a lot of fun doing this, right? And there's also an instance content type of fight. So if someone is leeching, the commander can kick them. There's not gonna be, there probably is gonna be leeching sometimes, but only because the commander doesn't know. Because if they want, they can kick them. So there's so many different levels of things happening that all matter, right? And in other metas, maybe they don't so much. Most likely, if you're doing Drownstorm or whatever meta, Archipelago, Amnitas, or whatever, even the new meta in the new map, the meta's gonna not fail, right? It's probably not gonna fail. And your individual actions are not going to matter as much. Maybe a little bit. Maybe you can carry in some ways, but most of the time it's not. But in this one, everything that you do matters. If you heal Soja, it will matter. If you use your orbs for yourself and do a lot of damage, it will matter. If you split correctly, it will matter. If you are the commander, tell people where to go, it will make it faster. There's a lot of things happening, and that's very, very cool. Guild Wars 2 has always had this issue of the metas are only for one type of player. Or they're very hard like Dragon Sand and casuals don't like it. Or they're very casual and very easy and veterans don't like it. Convergences do both. They give you the possibility of being very casual and very chill, and no one's gonna get mad at you because you're not gonna fail. But you also have the possibility of being very, very try hard and having a lot of risk by yourself and having a lot of fun by yourself while actually carrying other people. And you don't, and no one's gonna get mad. And you will have your own set difficulty because you're gonna lower your health, but you're gonna do more damage, and you have a good reward for it. And that's very cool. Convergences prove that you don't have to have a hard boss to make it engaging. This boss is not hard. You'll be able to get it. Convergences are not hard. You're not gonna fail. Maybe if no one kills Soja and she's like gets to, you know, for 50 to 0 and you're not paying attention, there's no commander, maybe then. But no matter how much damage you're doing, you're gonna be fine overall. But there's a lot of decisions that you're gonna make. Splitting, putting people in the correct places, grabbing orbs for yourself or for Soja, keeping them to do more damage, or going to return them, or also maybe making a bit more, you know, being a bit more defensive while using your orbs because you have low health in order to do more damage overall in more time. There's a lot of things that are happening, and that makes it a lot very engaging. Unlike something like Dragon Sand that used to be engaging, but when they nerfed it and there's no DPS tech, it became a bit boring, right? And with this, you don't have that disadvantage of making a lot of people not being able to play the game mode, play the meta, because a lot of the people, because they just don't do enough damage. You can have everyone here, the people who do a lot of damage and they're gonna have fun, the people who do lower damage and they're not gonna have fun. And I think that's a very, very cool thing about Convergences. They also fix the problem of private instances versus open world. A big criticism of having things like Dragonstorm, Marionette, and one of the reasons why I even didn't advocate for having Dragon Sand as a private instance is because when you have a private instance, everyone will go there because it's a pre-made group with probably people that are gonna be doing their best to make it, you know, succeed. But when you have something like Convergences, when you have to pay to do a private instance, you have a little bit of a disincentive for getting in the private instance. You have a very good incentive for going to the open world, to the public version, and that way you have this little cross-pollination between people who are, you know, very hardcore players, they really want to kill it fast, and people who are just in there for learning. People who really want to, you know, pump and do a lot of damage, they are going to go to the public versions from time to time, if not all the time, because they don't want to pay for the price. And of course, you can still have private instances for when you really want to go hard with, you know, with pre-made groups or whatever. But it works fine for the open world as well. I think ArenaNet are finally getting out of their shell in terms of what they can do with their open world with this meta. They are not only giving us an instance meta with big bosses that we are going to get more, by the way. We're not only going to get this two, the Wyvern boss and Demonite, we're going to get more in the future months. But they're also giving us power creep inside of this, only in this meta, that makes it so much more fun to do. It is kind of boring sometimes to do the same metas with the same power all the time. But if you have this one specific moment, with this specific moment, in this meta, that you have this specific type of power that gives you, you know, a little bit of a consequence if you don't use it well, it is very fun. You can't really have this kind of system everywhere, of course, but you can have this here. And that's pretty cool. That makes this meta, this convergence, way more memorable when you do it. Because you can do things here that you can do there in other places. And that is very worth it. Very, very cool. and I hope we get more of this. Honestly, double down. Give us, next meta that we get on our inner nails. I hope the masteries have some cool stuff with that. Have some, maybe not only in inner nails, you're gonna be able to do some insane shit that you can only do there. Okay. Just like what we had in EOD with the protocols, but the protocols were not as much fun, and you can bring them to other places. So if you bring them to everywhere, it just ends up being a thing that it's just expected. But if you can only do them in certain places, kind of what they tried to do with Gyarados but didn't work out. Gyarados filters could have been so good. They could have, but they didn't. They were not, because they're not interesting enough. Right now I'm playing WoW, and there's a few, honestly the metas are not very good, but they have a very good idea. Some of the new Super Bloom, you get this little roguelike type of powers. If you press spacebar, you'll transform yourself into an owl and start shooting stars at people. Just only in that meta, okay? And you can build your build while you're doing the meta by essentially saying, getting another power is like every time you jump, you also this other thing. So you start stacking up with what your meta build is actually doing. That's pretty cool. And in this Convergence, you can actually do this a little bit as well, because there's a lot of ads that you can use to use sigils that stack with kills, like cruelty sigil that will give you more power the more kills you have, and it'll last for this whole meta, of course, and ones that refresh every time you kill something, so you can become even more powerful. There's a lot of things that interact with each other, and that's very, very cool. And I'm really, really hoping that we get more things like that. And I think ANET is finally figuring these things out, and I'm really very excited for the future. Also, the rewards are great, which is pretty cool. Supreme Rooms of Holding, wow, a way of getting this very important items that in order to craft bags that is not gambling. Pretty cool. Sky Skull weapons that you can only get on Rift, but you can get them now as well here. Awesome. A lot of gold as well. A lot of materials. Pretty cool as well. Rift essences for your armor legendary. Yo, great. That you can transform into gold by doing some motivations. Hopefully don't go down in price too much. That is also very, very cool. And I'm very excited to see more about this. Jesus Christ. What a great addition to the game. I'm so excited to see what we get next. Tell me what you guys think. Tell me what you guys like or dislike about this matters, about Convergences. And figure out this around. Bye-bye.